and we see that we are in a world where it seems that we are living not in the present, we are living in the future. Things are, every day we get new technology to show us that there are new possibilities for mankind. Unfortunately, in the majority of the countries of the world, the enhancement of technology is not used to benefit the peoples of the world. It's used to deepen the conditions of exploitation. And it's not understandable how we live in the 21st century, in 2017, and what we see is that technology is not used in favor of the peoples. And we have more and more unemployment, and those who have work, particularly the young generations, most of them are either unemployed or without knowing what will be their future in 1 week, in 1 month, in 1 year, because of precarity. And that is also to blame for imperialism. How can we have drones? How can we have such important technologies and at the same time we live in a country where there are still people that die because they don't have access to water, they don't have access to food, they don't have access to medicine? That's a major contradiction. We also have a situation, I think it's very interesting, the example brought here from Belarus. We should all learn from that. Unfortunately, Belarus, Cuba, and some very few countries are an exception. Because the majority of the young people in the world, they have to struggle to get access to education. Most of the young people, the young generations in our world, either has no access to education or they even have to pay to study. And when you have to pay, of course, in a world that is divided by social classes, if you have money, you get to study. If you don't have money, you don't get to study. And that is something that we also should think about. By now, we should all be thinking, maybe our friend here is mistaken in the room because we are speaking about the 100 years of the October Revolution. But I think that it has most significance that we are speaking here in this hall about the problems that we live today. Because these problems, as I said before, were lived before in a different way, but were lived before by mankind 100 years ago, before the October Revolution. And it was the October Revolution who broke with all that. I think that the example of the October Revolution is not by chance that in most countries, when you learn it in school, it's like, well, if you're religious, of course, it's like you're learning about the devil. You're learning about hell, how something that was incredibly nonsense. And why is that? Why is that in schools, in most countries of the world, in the capitalist countries, of course, you are taught the October Revolution is something so bad that brought so much evil to the world? Well, it's simple. It's because capitalism, imperialism cannot allow the young people of our world to know what happened here 100 years ago. That the peoples and the youth took power in their hands. That they broke with the monopolies. That they broke with the oligarchy. That they broke with social inequality and they built a country made on principles of justice, of social equality, of access to water, to food, to land. Over the last year in my country, Portugal, I've been doing some sessions with young kids, I can say from 12 to 17, 18 years old about the October Revolution. When I start, I always ask them not about the revolution itself. I ask them if they are happy in the conditions they live. The last one I did, I went to a school where there was no toilet paper for the people to go to toilet. And they asked me, how do you feel about this? Do you think this is correct? Do you think this makes sense? What do you think should be done? Nothing should be done? Do you think life should be like this? Or should you have access to education? Should you have access to a job when you go out of school? Should you have access to culture and sports? And what we find out, what I found out, but I think all of us know about already, is that the most of the young people don't agree with the way the world is built on today. They don't agree with social inequalities. They want a better future. They want to live in peace. They want a developed world. They want a developed country. They want a developed town for them to live and be happy. And once again, that is what brings us to the October Revolution. Because what was done here, the achievement of the 8-hour work a day, the achievement of paid vacations, of access to culture and sports, to the right of women. The right of women who is so much attacked nowadays, and we see that as time goes by, it seems that after the overthrow of socialism in the Soviet Union, the rights of women have been very much attacked, and we are going back instead of moving forward in those terms. And that is why I think it's so important, as I said in the beginning, that we are here. We are here to praise all those who fought. Without them, we could not be here having the discussion we had. We could not see that the world can be this better world. Because those people that 100 years ago started the October Revolution, those people who built Russia, who built the Soviet Union, who built socialism, they show us that it is possible. It is not only a matter of a dream, of an utopia. No, it is possible to change things. It is possible to go further. And so I want to tell you, to end my speech, I think that we live in a very complex world. Capitalism has made and imperialism, they have made the battle that we live nowadays very complex. What we see nowadays is that many times the victim is, as it was, the offender. We see our friends of Korea here. We see our friends in Palestine. We see our friends in Sahara. And so many other examples where those who are actually the victim of imperialism are being presented in the international media as if they were the offenders. And why? Because they want to build a country of their own? Because they want to build a country where they are happy and sustainable and want to develop the way they want? Is that a crime? And that is why I think, once again, I want to underline how important it is to have this festival, to have the World Federation of Democratic Youth, and to have all of us working for the unity of the peoples.